Today's episode is coming to you from the mountains of Idlewild, California. This is one of my favorite safe tree spaces. It's where we throw our retreats. And we bought this for me to come and write books, but I have not done that one time yet. It's hard to get out. Anyway, I love the space, and I feel like answering some questions and doing an episode. So here we go. Real quick, before I answer your questions, I was thinking to myself, just a little share about nature, by the way. So I grew up in the concrete jungle. I grew up hauling over trash cans and stealing car stereos. No one took me fishing. Dad was not an outdoorsy kind of guy. I never joined the Boy Scouts. I never learned how to build a fire. So nature really never resonated with me. But I would hear people going on adventures, especially later in life, and how nature grounded them. And it's so great to get out. And I really tried to do those things. But unless I was on two wheels, unless I was on a dirt bike or doing something active, I never really felt grounded by nature until now. And when I say now, I mean partly these days, but I mean literally today. So I came up here earlier and got some hot chocolate. Went to my little favorite coffee shop. Instead of coffee, because I drink so much coffee, I got hot chocolate. And I was thinking, me and nature used to be oil and water, but now as a 51-year-old, I'm no longer water. I've done some work, so I'm almond milk, and because I run hot, I'm warm almond milk. And nature is not oil. It is organic, natural cocoa powder. And when you mix the two, you have hot chocolate. And that is how that is how I feel. Me and nature, we are now hot chocolate. I feel grounded in nature. I feel clear. I feel so much gratitude. It makes me kind of rack focus on what's important in life. It does that to me naturally, right? So I'm assuming what's happening is it's pulling me out of my spinning thoughts, my false beliefs, my cognitive distortions. And I think I wasn't able to feel this because I just didn't have the radar. I wasn't open to feeling things like this. Now I think I could definitely feel subtle things that I never felt before. I notice trees. I know I do because this year in Los Angeles, this year has been probably, I grew up in LA. This is probably the most beautiful year in Los Angeles. Let me just mark that. 2024 fall in Los Angeles was the first time I've seen trees, leaves turn color. And it felt like fall in New York, which is just, beautiful and glowing and orange. And I wouldn't have noticed that if I didn't notice trees. So that's proof that I notice trees, which is I think important and telling of one's growth and presence and the ability to be in the here and now. Anyway, that's my share. All right, so question 1. All right, let's start with this. Let's start in the bedroom. How to restore a dead bedroom. Him, not me. That's it. That's all the question is. And you know what my response is first, before we get into anything in the bedroom? I want to say the him, not me part is just not a good mindset. Just out of the gates. Okay, so let me tell you, it doesn't matter if we're talking about discrepancies in the bedroom or disconnection or fights or anything. And also, I'm not just talking about intimate relationships. I'm talking about any relationship. If you start with him or her or them and not me, you're already going into this closed, defensive, and pointing a finger. Any conversation that needs to happen has to happen with openness. Because if you're defensive, the other person is going to be defensive. In every relationship, you're only 50%, the other person's 50%, right? So how to restore the dead in the bedroom? Well, maybe partly the dead, partly is you not being open or blaming or judging the other person, because by you saying him, not me, you're already, and listen, that can be true. Okay, I'm not saying that's not true, but with that mindset comes an energy, comes shields, comes a closing, comes white knuckles, And so that's the first thing I would do is reframe. It's not him, not me. It's us, right? It's us, not us. That doesn't make any sense, but it does in a way, right? It's us, not us. It is, you guys are in this together. And to restore the quote unquote, as you say, dead in the bedroom, it's going to require a rebirth. And a rebirth requires both a conversation, starting with self, but also an inner journey. And I think this is a great time to reboot definitions of what alive is in the bedroom, right? If things are dead. I think it's a great time to start a conversation about what turns people on, what you want in the bedroom. I know the number one reason why the bonfire turns into a spark. Well, I don't know if it's number one. It's an obvious one. It's people don't talk. People don't talk about what they want, what they desire, how they want to be touched. So all of that, but also I got to see on a deeper level. And I actually think this is number one. Any kind of anger and resentment, any kind of anger or resent. I mean, think about it. If you're angry at someone, the last thing you want that person to do is touch you, right? Or kiss you or hold you. And so maybe this isn't a sex thing. Maybe this is a forgiveness thing, So that's just something to look at. I know in my experience, more so with my whoever I was loving at the time, when it came to any kind of disconnection in the bedroom, a lot of it had to do with her being angry with me or having some resentment. And working through that helps tremendously, right? So that would be my first go-to. And then everyone's different, so not comparing, talking about what you guys like, how you guys want to be loved, made love to, what's the experience you want to have in the bedroom. And, I like that you used the word dead, because maybe that's what needs to happen, is that chapter needs to die. And so I don't think it's about restoring the dead, because you're saying, how do I restore the dead bedroom? Maybe some new curtains, get that ugly painting off the wall. I'm just kidding. Maybe it's not about restoring the dead. Maybe it's about allowing the dead to die and giving birth to something new. I like that. That sounds more important, encouraging. Okay, next question. Rebuilding slowly with boyfriend after relationship rupture. Any tips on easing my anxiety around it? Well, first I want to say congrats on rebuilding after the relationship rupture. I always say that repairing rupture, I would put this at pretty much the top. The ability to repair rupture is going to tell you if the relationship is sustainable. If you can't repair rupture, whether it's you, your partner, both, whoever, if both of you guys don't have the tools to look at self, to own some things, to be expressive, to communicate, and to repair a rupture, the plane will eventually go down. Because it doesn't matter how good the sex is or how much chemistry you have or, how much you feel like this person is your soulmate. We are humans, and with humans come conflict and disagreements. There's going to be ruptures. Your feelings will be hurt no matter what, I guarantee you, and you will hurt your partner. It's about repairing these ruptures. And if two people do not have the ability / tools to repair, the relationship will be not built on a foundation, but on sand. And usually what will crumble it is a lot of anger and resentment, things that are unresolved, So, tips on easing your anxiety around it. I would say, um, what is being activated in you, right? And before you start blaming, what can you own? What, and also think about patterns, right? So, like, if in your previous relationships, you're used to being activated because of conflict, and then you react instead of respond, whether that is, stonewalling or slashing tires, throwing chairs, whatever your reaction, shutting down, whatever your reaction is instead of a response, that's where the road forks. And I think if you can take your anxiety, because anxiety isn't a bad thing, it can be a marker, so take your anxiety, explore it instead of reacting, explore it, ask yourself what's happening, what's really happening, where's this coming from, and see if you can respond instead of react. See if you can put that emotional speed bump there, and know that it's a practice, that it's going to require reps, right? And I got to say, this what I'm talking about is, it's it's one of the biggest things when it comes to building a sustainable relationship. This is 101. This is foundational. Because if two people are managing, working through, learning from their activation, right? And then from that, they are putting in reps, things that are hard. If you're an avoidant, then to lean in. If you're anxious, then to give space. Like, whatever it is that you need to do to readjust, to rewire yourself. This stuff also takes a lot of reps and practice. That's what the healing is. That's where healing is going to happen. It's not through ideas. It's through two people actually saying, this activates me. I don't know how much of it is you. I don't know how much of it is me, but let me first check on myself and look inward and see what's happening. Oh, it's coming from this and some, fatherhood wounds, or, what happened last time because my ex cheated on me, or my fear of intimacy, or, my attachment style. So when you start looking at all that, then you're like, oh, I understand myself better. Now I see what's happening. I've also created distance because I could see what's happening, which helps me from the reaction and the high emotions. Okay, now I could come into this and take more ownership. Now I can be honest with self and you, because before I would just go into it loaded with reaction, and I would be judging you and telling you it's your fault and here's how you need to change. And think about it. If two people are doing that, the magnets flip. But if two people are actually saying, hey, here's where it's coming from, and I'm realizing this is why I said these things, or this is why I'm feeling this way, just want to share it with you. Now it's a conversation. Now you're creating a bridge, right? Now shields are coming down. And through this process, we are building trust. And through this process, we are discovering more about each other and love, And this is how we swim toward the corrective experience. I'm a huge believer on giving ourselves corrective love experiences. And this isn't just because I'm a therapist or shit I learned from therapy school. This is from my own personal story, my findings as a human being on this planet who has loved many people, long-term relationships, on my second marriage, lots of 3-year relationships, and of course also helping, I would say thousands as far as individual and couples with their relationships. And what I've learned that no one really talks about is, I want to give myself a corrective love experience, and that should be the North Star. And we don't think about that. We think about, how much money this person makes, what they look like naked, how's the chemistry, how many followers they have. I mean, all these things that we check as far as boxes when it comes to love. And it's okay. It's okay to have types, and it's okay to to a certain extent have some boxes to check, and you have preferences, and sure. But above all of that, the goal should be, I want to recondition, rewire, I want to heal myself, and I'm going to do it by giving myself a corrective love experience. I'm contributing to how corrective that love experience is going to be, because if your ass is toxic and just tracing old patterns, you may never give yourself a corrective love experience, even if you chose quote unquote someone perfect, because you're fucking it up. So here is what I bring to the table, contributing to a corrective love experience. And then from what I know and how I'm wired and what I know is good for me, here's who I want to pick, because I believe this person has the tools, the ability, the energy, the intention to create this kind of space for me. And together we will create a new love experience that starts to eclipse the old. And both of us will heal each other through this experience. Now think about this. This is what relationships are about. Now, of course, there's also a good time. Of course, there's also adventure and sex and eating out and whatever you want out of life with your partner. That's great, sure. But ultimately, if us loving another person or many people gets us to heal not only ourselves but each other, think about that concept. What other species? I mean, I don't know. I don't think animals have that capability. I don't know about aliens, maybe, but that is like some miracle shit. You know what I'm saying? That is stuff that I don't think we talk about or value or even understand that it's there for us. And that is the whole point of relationships. Oh, and I gotta say, it's taken me 51 years. I mean, I didn't start dating at age 1. So, I mean, what, since high school to now? So, 30 years or so um, to realize and understand what love really is about. Anyway, thank you for listening. I have a small ask. Can you rate my podcast? I know it's coming out of the blue, but I always forget to ask because I feel bad asking. But reviews on my podcast would mean a lot to me. Thank you for listening. Be well.